In a previous video, I told you the story of the Polish mine detector, an invention of massive importance to the Allied cause. This ingenious device, grandfather of the modern metal detector, enabled Allied soldiers to quickly and safely locate German anti-tank and anti-personnel mines, which could then be defused. It sped up the ability of Allied forces to advance, and the Germans were soon wise to its existence and impact, and designed a counter-menace. The Polish mine detector worked because it located buried metal objects, so the Germans intentionally designed a mine that contained almost no metal, and therefore was very hard to detect with the available tools, forcing Allied troops into the previous slow poking the ground with bayonets or metal rods to physically locate the new weapon. Called the Schümine 42, short for Schützenmine 42 or Rifleman's Mine Model of 1942, it was colloquially known to Allied soldiers as the shoe mine, though it had nothing to do with shoes. Made of non-strategic materials, primarily wood, and with a very small amount of metal in the detonator, finding it with a mine detector was next to impossible. The detector would have to be right on top of the mine to gain any kind of reading. It weighed just 1.1 pounds or half a kilo and contained a charge of 200 grams or just over 7 ounces of TNT. Its operation was brutally simple.
A detonator is placed through a hole in the front and the firing pin set. The lid is then partially closed but prevented from closing entirely by a small twig placed under the edge. When this twig is disturbed, the lid falls, knocking out the pin. This is sure one little package that should be clearly marked, handle with care.
Very cheap to make, the shoe mine was manufactured in millions and widely used by the Germans and came as a very nasty surprise to the Allies. To overcome the problem of detection, the British turned to the use of sniffer dogs, trained to locate the mines from the odour of the TNT explosive inside the buried wooden box. And large numbers of specialist sniffer dogs were used by British, Canadian and American forces from D-Day onwards. If you stepped on a shoe mine, you probably wouldn't have been killed, but 7.1 ounces of TNT would do a lot of damage to lower limbs, and a wounded man tied down more resources than a dead man, which appeared to have been the Germans' reasoning in creating a fairly low-powered mine in the first place. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share, and also visit my audiobook channel, War Stories with Mark Felton. You can also help to support both of my channels at PayPal and Patreon. Details in the description box below.